All right, I figured I would try something a little bit different since I got dressed up today to appear on Fox 32. You can check that out tonight at 10 with Luke Canellis and Tina Wynn. I'll be on as a panelist there. And in the meantime, I'm filming this before that time because I have some Bears thoughts that I would like to get out. People have asked me for this, at least a couple of people, maybe fewer than that, have wanted this, but hey, that's I try to do something a little bit different and be where people need content, so this is what I'm doing today. Just my thoughts initially after watching that abysmal Bears 52-21 loss to the Lions. I think what's most frustrating about this game was that you felt like, in a way, they were already getting defeated before they even started. And not necessarily in what was outright the news before the game, but just already you felt like the Bears were set back. When you see the news that Kyler Gordon, Jahdae Walker, Ozzie Trapillo, that's your 56th overall pick if you're keeping count, Case Keenum, Karan Amagaji, number 72 a couple years ago, as you know, in the third round, Shamar Turner, that's pick number 62 of 2025, all on the inactive list. And even though Shamar Turner had an ankle injury, he was still considered, I think, a healthy scratch because he wasn't on the injury report for the Bears earlier in the week. So unfortunate for Shamar Turner, but even worse, you're sitting to yourself wondering, at least I was, these draft picks are supposed to be a big part of this team. You draft Ozzie Trapillo to try to give you more help at left tackle because you didn't think you needed it, even though he had played right tackle. Darnell Wright didn't have his best game against the Lions, but you still thought that this was a guy who was supposed to contribute somewhere. 12 of the 13 offensive linemen drafted in 2025 have started at least one game. You can't say the same for the Bears. Already you're asking yourself, where's the talent evaluation? Ryan Poles, the now extended GM, is 15-38. And when these draft picks aren't taking the field, that's a problem before we've even kicked off the football. One of the good things that I did like to see in this game was that Caleb Williams and the Bears drove down the field and they scored a touchdown yet again in their first drive. Think about how refreshing that was, considering we've seen that now in back-to-back games compared to what happened with the Bears last year. I do think that is progress. I also think that this game was even a little bit more in rhythm for Williams. I know he was sacked 4 times and that stinks. He also threw the interception where he was flushed out of the pocket. He was trying to make something happen downfield. At that point, your options are get sacked, see if you can outrun somebody to get out of bounds, or you try to throw a pass and make something happen, or you try to throw it out of bounds. He ends up throwing that interception, which ended up being an issue, but that was just part of what I consider just a multi-system failure in this 52-21 loss. Williams ends up 19 of 30 for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, which is a good thing, but I feel like his cadence was a little bit better than what we even saw in the game before. I know the Bears had a lot of false start penalties in this one, but I do feel like there was progress that was made there. Unfortunately, the question becomes, will it get strung together where there's enough time for him to progress at this pace in the NFL? That's something that remains to be seen. It's what we're watching at 670 The Score, and of course, all season long, we'll be checking that out. As far as what gets worse, well, how about the fact that Jared Goff wasn't even sacked in this game? When you knew you had those injuries going in, the Bears secondary was already hurt, as we know. Jalen Johnson ends up re-aggravating an injury that, after hearing him talk about it on the Ryan Clark Pivot podcast, you think might have been a lot more serious than he wanted to let on, or the Bears wanted to let on. And then, unfortunately, TJ Edwards ends up re-aggravating his hamstring injury. So already, more preparation-related issues, or at least something that you knew in advance for the Bears, rearing its ugly head. I know guys want to try to go, but those are 2 of your best defensive players, and if you don't have them against the Lions, somebody else had better step up. And you would think that would be the defensive line. But when Jared Goff doesn't get sacked, he throws for 334 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. You're expecting your defensive line to help out your secondary. The pass rush makes the defense look a whole lot better, and those guys didn't get home. Montez Sweat signed a 4-year contract for $98 million. Grady Jarrett, 3 years, $42.75 million. Dayo Odeyingbo, 3 years and $48 million. It's a number that we'll continue to discuss because that is something that matters. Have we seen a lot of flashes out of Dayo Odeyingbo? Yes. Have we seen Montez Sweat flash a little bit more than what we saw last year? Yes. But is that the goal? No. You want to see more out of those guys. At least a sack in a game like this. Or a pass deflect or something. Get your hands up. Try to do something to disrupt the Lions from absolutely establishing offensive rhythm in this game. And it was so confident when you consider that the Bears gave up 50 points for the first time since losing to Green Bay when they allowed 55 points in 2014. That's how long this has been. So even though the offense could only score on 3 of their 13 drives, you saw what happened defensively, and that's what makes this really, really unfortunate. Over 5 quarters now, 5 quarters, they've given up 694 yards of offense to the opponent, 73 points. That goes back to that fourth quarter where they gave up 21 points in the Monday night game against the Vikings. This can't continue like this. And of course, people are asking about Ryan Poles as well. And I think that that kind of talent evaluation is a concern. Do the Bears have the talent to be able to run some of the concepts that Ben Johnson wants to run? That's a question that I think we deserve to find out the answer, because when somebody gets extended and they don't even talk to the media and the appearance that they had next to face them about that extension, that doesn't give me confidence either. And now we're seeing this play out in this way real time. Incredibly unfortunate all the way around. Fortunately for the Bears, their next opponent is the Dallas Cowboys, who just gave up 37 points to the Giants, who took them to overtime. We have a lot more to discuss on 670 The Score, of course, throughout the week with Rahimi and Harris with Mark Grody. He'll be in on Monday as well, and I hope you got to enjoy this, or at least have it be useful somehow. If not, I totally understand. There's a lot of NFL content out there, but thanks for watching. I'm going to try to do more of these when I can, so this is my first one.